Let me introduce the tools. We will use a medium stick of willow or vine charcoal and a Bristol brush to knock back the work where needed. This is a chamois cloth, a very soft piece of leather which lifts the charcoal. Never wet them in the studio, preserving the soft surface which lifts charcoal dust so effectively. Placing your light at a 45-degree angle to the cube will give you the most effective foam lighting. We will name and number the values. This top plane receiving the most light will be value number 1. Then we will have value number 2, a middle light tone, and value number 3, the shadow side. So the darkest parts will be the cast shadow and the accent. We will address this later. So let us establish the basic shape. I'd like to start by placing a horizontal and vertical line to signify the center of my work. You can eyeball it, but I like to be sure. Then rough in the general shape of the foam so you can estimate its size in relation to this page. Early on, I'd like to establish the center of the top plane. Finding the vertical is easy as they are parallel. Find the middle vertical and then establish the distance of the two outer verticals. Where you see little of a side plane, the outer vertical will be close to the middle vertical. Where you see most of the side plane, the vertical will be more distant from the center. Don't worry if it's not exactly correct at the beginning, as drawing should be adjusted as it progresses. So first, we establish the edge or vertical closest to us, then make a decision about the outer verticals. I'll begin with the top plane sighting the angles, and be careful not to make the lines too acute. Our natural tendency is to show too much of the top plane. Why I drew this line without measuring it? Because I guessed, because it's a square, it's a cube, so that I know all the lines are the same length. So I use the top shape to come up with a cube shape, because all you have to do is make sure it looks like a cube. That looks like a cube. Right. I might erase things that I don't need. Clean it up. As this is the lightest value, we will clean it up with the chamois. You can also use a soft eraser. Unfortunately, my chamois was quite dirty, so it left some residual there. I can use eraser to clean it up. I'll do it later. So this is value 1. This is the lightest part, second lightest, the dot. So what I will do, I'll leave this part as it is, and then start darkening this middle part. Here you can begin laying the middle value and then the darker value for the shadow side. And this is darkest. If the cube is big, then you have more work to do to just fill up the surface. Okay, there is a basic kind of value definition is there. And I want to draw the shadow. To complete the effect of the values, we need to draw the cast shadow and accent. The accent will be your darkest element, and the cast shadow will usually be darker than the shadow side of the cube. But this is dependent on the effect you want. The cast shadow is easiest to draw when you have a single light source. In this demo, we have several light sources. The window and ceiling lights are affecting the cast shadow here. We will try focus on the 45-degree directional light, giving us form lighting. We will keep the cast shadow one simple dark value. You may lighten the outside edge of the cast shadow so that it does not end with a very hard edge. The reason why I'm doing this is that because the edge is too dark. That's not what I want to do. Um, I think these two say the value are too close, which means either I have to make this one brighter or this part darker. I'll bring the eraser so that I can make some parts a bit more bright. So I'm going to erase here. I think the values are too close here. So I'm going to erase to increase the contrast between dark and light. A good strong contrast will project the edge closer to me. So giving a good big contrast will bring the shape, part of shape. Coming towards to me, and I'm going to make this part a bit more darker than this part. I'll also darken this part so that it sinks back and disappears a little. I'm trying to create 3D dimensions within this space. And you can erase. Now, next thing I want to do is to bring this part towards We decided the cast shadow is the darkest part, so I need to make a difference here, so you can tell whether it's the shadow on the cube or the cast shadow. And if you look at the accent is where the bottom surface of the object meets the cast shadow. This dark line underneath. This is the darkest value in the drawing. Most shadow has some transparency, but here there is a complete absence of light. There's no lights. This line I drew in the beginning now looks too dark, so it confuses the drawing. Even though the top is the lightest part, I want to create the illusion that this part is further away from me. To achieve this, I will darken this part. If you don't do this, then this part of the cube would seem to be elevated. Because this middle part is receding, we can alter the contrast here. And shadow. So to recap, because the light is hitting here, and this is the darkest part, and this is the second darkest. To make this cube more convincing, add contrast to this edge, and it will project towards the viewer. Lose this part by giving a little bit of color, indicating that it is further away from you. You can strengthen the effect by deepening the line at the bottom where surface meets surface, because there's no light here. One more thing you can do is suggest the table here and over here as a horizontal line. I will ignore this additional shadow as it is the result of another light source. Always question the light source, how and why the shadows appears this way. Sometimes you draw the background color when you feel the background color kind of helps to support the story.